Okay, the goal of this homework assignment is to rewrite both our node class and our graph class so that instead of using lists of other nodes, it uses hash maps. Let me say a couple words about kind of how this makes sense, and I hope the appeal of this technique will be clear to you. So first of all, in the graph class itself, of course, we have the root node, and each node has a list of all of its neighboring nodes. Let's ignore that for the moment. Let's just think about the list of all the nodes that the graph class has. The reason that we kept a list of all the nodes was because we wanted a getter method where we could say, give me the node for the bedroom, and it would just immediately return the bed node. Right now, the way we have it implemented is we literally have to loop over every single node in the list and check the name of each one until we find the name of the one we're looking for, and then we return it. Using a hash map instead, we'll have key value pairs. The keys will be the names, they'll be strings for the name of the node that we want, and then the value will be the actual node object itself. So in that case, we can use the maps getter method, and we give it the name as input, that's the key value, and it will immediately give us back the thing that we want as the output. And as I said, hash maps do this in constant time, so there's no iterating over another list at all. Let's look at what this looks like real quick in the code. So here I am in the graph class. Instead of saying nodes here, I'm going to comment it out. So I'll say private, and then hash map, oops, and I'm going to use string as my key value because it's the names of the rooms, and then I'm going to use node as my value, and I'll call it nodes again, and I'll import hash map. Okay, well, we can no longer say nodes.add because for hash maps the correct operation is put, and we'll put the name and then the node that corresponds to the name. So that's done. I'll leave it to you, so I'll leave it to you to fix this constructor and also fix the getter method. Next, I want you to implement the exact same idea for the node class. So instead of having a list of the neighbors, have a hash map of the neighbors, where the keys are the names of the neighboring nodes, and the values are the nodes themselves. In a similar way, you can rewrite your add neighbor method, and you can rewrite your getNeighbor method so that you don't have to loop over anything. Instead, you just immediately return what the hash map gives you. It's also kind of nice because you don't have to return null explicitly. Remember that if you ask the hash map for a key that doesn't exist in the map, then it will automatically return null. The last thing you'll need to change is the getNeighbor names. You can use the for each loop that I showed you in the hash map video to loop over all of the keys, and in this case you don't have to look up values because we don't care about the nodes. We just want to concatenate all the keys together in one giant string and return it in a similar way to what I'm doing here. The last thing I'd like you to do in this assignment is to add another field to the node class. We have names, but what I'd like you to do is add a description. Create getter and setter methods for this description. Inside main, when you create the hall, don't just say hall, also give it a description. A long, dank hallway. Closet. A dark, dark closet. Your descriptions, of course, can be more interesting than that. Finally, inside this game loop, when you look, when you execute the look command, don't just have it display the exits, also have it display the description of the room that you are currently in.